and we surprised the kids. And I have to tell you, this was one of the absolute greatest moments of my time in this hobby. We signed my son up for basketball this spring and he had an absolute blast. But I was taking him to the practices, and after the first practice I received an email from Josh Wagner, who's a 4th grade teacher up in Juniata County, Pennsylvania. And Josh sent me an email and said, I could have swore I saw you at a basketball practice, purple hair, Garrett girl shirt, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, yes, it was me, guilty as charged. But anyway, Josh went on to tell me that he had brought a metal detector into his classroom to teach the kids about circuits. And they took to it and they showed so much interest in it that he decided to start a metal detecting club with the kids. And they watched my videos. He went on to tell me they watched Hoarder and Nugget Noggin, and they watched a ton of YouTube videos. So he asked if he could send me a bunch of letters and fan mail from the kids. And I showed you that in, I think, 2 videos ago. He sent this whole stack of poems and pictures, and it was just so amazing that I reached out to Hoarder, Jason, and said, hey, you know, these kids watch you on YouTube. Would you be interested in going with me to Juniata County, Pennsylvania, and surprising these kids at their school? And he said, absolutely. So he drove 3 hours and he met me, and we surprised the kids. And I have to tell you, this was one of the absolute greatest moments of my time in this hobby. So here is the footage. Okay, before we get to the school, we decided to stop for lunch here at the Thompson Town Corner Deli. We made it! I guess the kids are in the cafeteria. They have no idea we're coming. Hey guys, so we are at an elementary school right now. We're about to surprise a group of 4th graders. They don't know we're coming, but I decided to bring you guys along.
I think we should do a video question. All right. How many people think it would be easier if they were just here that we could ask them ourselves? Yes! All right, turn around. That's awesome. Do you want to see theirs first or show yours first? Show yours first. Jordan.
He's eyeballing yourself. It's impressive, guys.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Here, Trent. Give me accent. What should we show?
Let me see that accent. Oh, that is massive. That is so cool.
Ready? Where's my key? Where's that key that was in here, guys?
Oh, here's the tooth.
Where's that key, guys? Yeah, find the tooth. Where's the tooth at? Guys, I need the key. I already found it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Here, Gabby. And here's the bend up butter knife. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we found a trailer. It looks like a trailer.
I found a butter knife.
Right.
I can't see.
I found a
I
butter
do see.
knife.
It's a cool. That heart pendant is. Who found the heart pendant? Did you really? That's a nice one.
Me and Gabby did.
You guys found it together?
Knife.
Oh, can I see that?
Oh wow. And whenever I did, I found this.
Wait, who found the shotgun shell?
That's really
Not me,
cool.
but I found a shotgun shell.
That's beautiful.
That's a beautiful one.
What year is it?
Okay, I'm
See
dropping
the year on it?
Garrett.
1942.
Wow, it's a war year.
Here, they're so real.
Oh wow,
Oh,
super
yeah.
rosy. That's cool.
Did you know what his name was on that?
I like it. Yeah, definitely.
Come on, what is his name? What is that?
I think it's a piece. Yeah, I found that. Well, Mr. Wagner found that.
My
All right, go ahead.
Metal detecting. I like metal detecting, do you? I think it's fun to do. You can find all sorts of things like coins and even rings. We metal detect at school. I think it's cool, metal detecting.
I love it.
That is really cool.
That's great, isn't it?
I wish I was that creative.
Can I get it? Do you have an extra stick?
You find things maybe 100 years old. Yeah, look at that. This might be like a fence latch.
Before you were talking
He thinks it's a fence line.
Did you find that?
Yeah.
Can you show me what you got there?
I think my coolest thing, well, it wasn't a coin. I found a jar that was sealed with stuff, and I thought it was like an old time capsule that maybe some kids buried. And when I opened it up, there was weird things there, and it turns out it was a witch. I know that sounds really weird, like a witch with a broomstick, but it was like a witch that buried all these things, and she would do like a ritual or whatever. And I was totally creeped out after I found it. It probably wasn't worth anything, but you find something like that you know someone spent so much time touching and manipulating. I just thought it was really cool. And that was probably my coolest thing.
All right, Cam, you want to go?
Sure. What is the most expensive find you guys found?
Ooh. Yours might be the same answer.
Yeah, probably. Actually, it was probably the same coin I found in England.
Did you get a value on that? I don't even...
I looked up one sold in 2007 for, I think it was $1,200.
Wow, that's pretty good.
So yeah, $1,200.
Mine was not even close to that. My biggest confirmed one was a rare key date Indian penny. I don't know if you saw them. And it was probably worth like maybe $400. I did find another coin. I was just talking to Drew, if you don't know Drew, that could beat it, but I have to have an expert look at it and see. You never know. But that was my biggest confirmed coin. It's not always about the money, so don't always think like, oh, I gotta find something that's gonna make me rich. It's kind of the fun and the history of the piece and trying to think, you know, what was that person's life like that carried this coin or this watch or this heart pendant around, and you put yourself in their shoes, and it kind of makes each piece special to you. The money is just a bonus.
All right, Cam, did you have any more, or is that yours? All right, Rhett, do you have some?
What was the oldest thing you had?
No, actually, my oldest coin is from 1200 AD.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty old. It's a
What is it?
hammered coin.
Did you get that overseas also?
Yes, it's still over there. I haven't got it back yet. But it's a real small, thin coin because it was hammered. So it was a piece of silver, and they just hammered it, and then it put an imprint in it. And it was pretty cool. That's my oldest.
I guess she wins again. Mine was nowhere near there. Probably mine was maybe around the late 1700s, 1770s, around George Washington time. I found a couple buttons, a few coins. Nothing much older. Over in England, you probably can find things.
Yeah.
Over here, there wasn't a lot of activity, you know, too much earlier than that. So my oldest coin's not as impressive.
All right, Addie.
Mine has the same thing as me.
Oh, okay. Do you have another one, or not? Or can you think of something quick?
Well, yeah. So, Relic, Recoverist, why do you like finding buttons so much?
I don't know what it is about buttons. Every button is, well, almost every button is different. And I just like the designs and to think who lost the button. Yeah, who lost them. Yeah, I especially like the big dandy buttons with the cool edging. I have some actually. When I pass them around, you guys can see those old coat buttons.
And Hoarder, so when you go to people's houses, do they usually reject you, or do they usually let you?
It's probably, I'd say 9 out of 10 people say we could do it. It really depends on how you present yourself. You have to be smiling. You have to look approachable. I talk to them a lot. I want to make them feel comfortable. I give them my name. I tell them what I want. I'll invite them to come out with me, and I'll bring an extra machine. So it really depends on your attitude and what you're there to do. And I just try to relay that. Now, some people still say no. You know, if someone knocked on my house and said, "Can I go dig around in your backyard?" I might say no, but it depends on how you sell yourself to the person. And if you're pretty smiley and pretty friendly, most of the time they'll say yes. Especially when you're 10 years old.
Make sure your parents are
It does.
with
It
you.
really helps. It really helps if you're 10.
And I just usually stand there quietly because I'm I'm not as good of a talker as he is, so I just kind of stand there like this.
Whatever he says brings me that further away. So I think you just be quiet.
Relic, Recoverist, and Hoarder. Have you ever gone metal detecting on the beach?
Yes, we were actually just at the beach a couple weeks ago, but that was a student hunt. So basically what that is the people putting on the dig, they'll go out and they'll put a whole bunch of stuff on the beach for you to go and find. Before that, I've been detecting on the beach once before.
Your digging South Jersey video,
Yeah.
where you were like completely miserable on the beach in the cold.
It really windy and really cold that day. And actually that video is coming up, I think, next week. No, that was in Cape.
No, it was Ocean. We were in Ocean City.
Okay. Yeah, and it was just so cold and so miserable, and I think I got 26 cents. And then the video transitions into a field, and I'm like, well, we left the beach because it's cold and miserable, so now we're in a field. Digging on the beach takes a lot of persistence. It takes a lot of work.
It does, yeah. I've never been detected on the beach. Not even the seated hunts, which look fun, because
Yeah.
that's more of like, you get to hang around with other people that share your hobby. But I don't like getting sand in between my toes. That's so uncomfortable. And I like to find old stuff. You know, if there was a brand new 10-karat gold ring and then a 100-year-old marble, I want the 100-year-old marble. So I've never detected the beach, but I might for something like that, just because you can hang around with your friends.
I know there's Coin Beach in Delaware. A lot of the guys go out there after a storm because there was
When it cuts the ground,
Yeah, so it'll cut away the sand, and you know the coins are close to the surface, and I mean what are they? Coppers and
Shipwreck coppers.
Yes. So yeah, they probably do find old stuff.
Yeah.
But everyone has their own version of treasure, you know. And I like the woods and old farms and old houses, and some people like the beach and whatever makes you happy.
And the both of you, what metal detectors do you recommend?
Oh gosh. Well, it depends. For you guys, I would probably recommend an ACE metal detector, Garrett ACE, probably 400, 300. If you're older and you really, really like it, maybe the AT Pro. What I use is the AT Max, which is kind of complicated, but you guys would do great with the ACE. That's what I started with. I started with an ACE 250.
I started with an ACE also. And they are good because they don't weigh too much. And if you go out for especially a couple of hours, your elbow will start to really hurt if you bring some big hunking machine. So you want to factor the weight in. That's a good machine. I started with one. I still have mine. In fact, I have it in my car right now.
Yeah, we got mine out in the car too.
Yeah, Kyle has his. He started with an ACE.
I have mine out there too.
You can get a good look at them. We all have a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
I'm filming you while you're filming.
It's okay.
You will get to test Garrett Metal Detectors for free.
I do, yes. Yep. I actually got to test the AT Max before it came out. We spent some time in Perry County testing the AT Max for a weekend, and that was fun. Yeah.
Did you get to keep that, or did you send it back?
No, it was pre-production.
Oh, okay.
So, and then they ended up coming out with the detector, and then they sent me one. It was on the box, so that's really cool.
It is on the box. I saw that. That is cool. Who can say they're on the box?
All right, Fabian.
Have you ever found a gold doubloon?
No, not yet.
He is so disappointed.
I know.
I almost want to say yes, so you'll smile, but I didn't find one either.
I found 4 without a metal detector. I was shifting in the sand. And
You found 4 gold doubloons? You should be up
No
here. I should
way.
be sitting in that chair. I wouldn't even know what they look like.
They're like coins are big.
Really?
Oh,
That's
wow.
impressive. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What is your best? Have you found a shovel?
I have found a shovel. That's a really good question.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah. We were
I
out
found
at the
several
farm.
shovels.
I found a really big
You found a
garden
shovel?
Two
I found a
shovels,
couple
yeah.
shovels.
Yeah.
They're not in good shape.
No, they're usually
But,
rusted. Mine didn't even have a handle. It
No,
was
I
just,
didn't need it. Just the
We
blade.
just-
the
found a
legend
handle.
has been here.
You found just the handle? Usually the wood will rot away. You'll just find the metal handle and the metal spade, and you have to just imagine what the wood looked like.
I got one out of a Civil War camp, out of a trash
Oh, that's a
pit.
good one then.
Infantry spade.
I see you found an old one. The ones I found were modern, maybe from the
Yeah.
50s.
All right, Lex. You want to go?
Well, this question you already answered. What's the most interesting thing you found? So I'll just move to the next question. They're both the same. How did you get interested in metal detecting?
Well, I've always been a little bit of a treasure hunter ever since I was your age, probably. When I was a teenager, I used to go out in the woods, and we had an old bottle dump behind my house that has a bunch of trash and bottles and stuff in it. And I used to collect the bottles. so I drag them all home, and my mom's like, "Why are you bringing these home?" And I leave them outside. And then a couple years ago, I decided I would just give metal detecting a try. So I bought an Ace 250, and I had that for a couple months, and then I got the AT Pro, and the rest is history. I have a lot of detectors now. But yeah, and now it's an addiction. I do it all the time.
I just want to say thank you for coming in.
Oh.
Thanks for having us here. You guys are fun.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So how did you get interested in it?
Oh, mine. I have two boys. Now they're a little older than you, but a few years ago they were younger, obviously, because people's age. And I bought them each a detector for Christmas, and I took them out to a park, and I was just walking behind them, helping them, trying to dig, and I thought it was so cool. So after a couple hours, I said, "Oh, I got to get myself one too." So then I bought myself a nice one. Not that theirs wasn't nice. And then within like 3 months, they both lost interest and went on to the next thing. But I just, once it gets in your bones, it's hard to get rid of. So maybe like 4 or 5 years now, and we go out almost every weekend, year-round, almost every weekend. Maybe even during the week after work, I'll sneak out. It is. And once you start finding things, if you like it, you'll know it, because it doesn't leave that passion.
And I know you didn't ask me, but the way I got interested was by having a friend that goes metal detecting. So Jason, Hoarder got me interested.
So I just randomly picked a friend and said, "You come with me."
So if you can find a friend that likes to go, that's a good way too.
All right, Gabby, do you want to ask any? No? All right, Trent.
Recoverist, how did you come up with like the song at the end of your video? Oh, that was the best song ever. Yeah, it's the best song ever. I love it.
That's so funny. Actually, I write for American Digger magazine as well as my YouTube channel, and they have a radio podcast online. And that was the intro to their podcast. And I had heard the song and I liked the song, so they told me who wrote it. Her name's Whit Hill. She has a whole CD about metal detecting. So I contacted her and asked if I could use that song at the beginning of my videos, and she said sure. So then I edited together a trailer and put on her music, and that's how it happened. Yeah, everyone asked me if it's me singing. I'm like, no, you don't want to hear me sing.
I thought it was you singing too. I thought it was you singing. I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, she has a whole CD on metal detecting. You can look her up and maybe get the CD.
And Hoarder, what was your favorite find?
My favorite find? That's a tough one. That witch jar was pretty cool. I was just telling Relic Recoverist I found a Buck Rogers spaceship maybe like a month ago, and that was super cool. You could see the wings on it. So my favorite find changes. Every hunt I have a new favorite find until the next hunt, and then I have another new favorite find.
That silver makeup?
Yeah, that makeup thing, which I think is in the magazine this month, someone told me, I don't know. Every time you go out, you find a new favorite, and then where am I going to put this in the display case? And then the next week, oh, I got to move this over and make room. So it's hard to narrow it down to one thing.
Great, Jasmine. Are you bashful? Keegan.
If like what's the biggest Relic Recoverist? What's the biggest find you found?
The biggest. Oh my gosh. My first time ever out metal detecting. I just got my metal detector and I put it all together, and I decided I was going to go out and try to find something. And I got this signal, and I mean, I didn't even really know my machine yet, and it was like this big signal, and I decided to try to dig it up. Well, about 30 minutes later, I realized that it was a drainage culvert actually under the road that I was trying to dig it up? Yeah, I was like, wait a second, I got the pinpointer.
We've done that.
Like this big, and like it was just under the dirt because the water was draining through it. But yeah,
we still do that.
It's probably the I know, right? Like, oh, that's a good signal, and then it's like, wait a second.
You're supposed to bury them so deep. So they're supposed to be 2 feet down when you hire a construction worker in. But if they're only 6 inches, you know, we don't know until we dig at it.
And the same question for
Well, I don't know the biggest, I'll say the biggest cool thing I found was Kyle and I did this old railroad house last year, and I found this giant rod. It was like this big, and I thought it was like an old, like a horseshoe stake or something. I didn't know what it was. And then a railroad museum emailed me and said that back in the early 1800s, a rail car would back up to its neighbor, And then a person had to squeeze in between and hammer this pin in between the cars. And a lot of times that person would get crushed and people would get hurt. So this pin was a giant coupler pin to hold these two rail cars together. And I thought that was amazing that the person to hold that's life was in danger every time they went to work. So I thought that was incredible, and that was a pretty big, giant chunk of iron. So that's the one I'm thinking of offhand. I'm sure I've probably done bigger things, but that was the biggest cool thing.
You got something, Nate?
Yeah, I forgot to add this.
Okay.
How did you come up with your YouTube names?
I don't even know.
No truth to know.
I was trying to come up with something that sounded good, and I was like, Relic Recoverist, and then I was like, Recoverist sounds pretty good, and Relic Recoverist. It kind of stuck.
I like it, yeah.
Yeah, it stuck.
That's pretty honest. Yeah, I mean, you want to have something that's kind of catchy. You know, I like things that rhyme or just weird things. So I just thought Hoarder, you know what you kind of know what it means. You probably know it has something to do with money. It rhymes. It sounds makes you. How can you not say it and not smile? It makes you feel good. So that's what I went with.
Anybody else have any questions? Maybe about like even just metal detecting. Maybe not stuff that they found. Do you have questions about like when you were metal detecting? Any tips or anything? All right, Cam.
About the drainage thing. We were up here in the mulch. We got this signal. It like I don't know my signals like you did when you started. And we kept digging and digging and digging. It took like 2 recesses. Then once we got down there, it was a big pipe.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, then it was actually still running, so we couldn't get it out. We dug all that for nothing.
Wow.
It was fun though.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
No.
All right, Nady.
Have you guys ever tried out a Garrett AT Gold?
Yeah, I actually have one in the car. I was using it today. I found a cut of Spanish silver from the 1700s today with the AT Gold.
And the AT Gold, are those mostly used for gold, like to find gold stuff?
No, they have a higher frequency on them, so they're better at finding gold and small items, but not specifically for gold. They're good for finding relics too.
All right, Blake.
Have you ever found like a cat to a human tooth when you were little?
No, but
We
my
have,
buddy
we have.
Sean did. I don't know if you saw that video.
yeah,
We
I
were out
saw
in the
it.
backyard
Yeah.
and he found a gold filling from a tooth. Just in the yard. It was like this far down, and it was a gold filling.
Wait, did we
It's pretty
find the
weird.
whole tooth in it too?
Yeah, we found the whole tooth and it was rotten.
Wait, what?
That's awesome.
Oh, that's so funny.
That's a cool find. Did you have gloves? Do you wear gloves when you go out there?
We wish.
Oh, you gotta wear gloves.
Gosh.
How many times you want to hand in a hole and there's broken glass or rusty, sharp metal?
We just avoid it.
Oh, you gotta put. You can't. You gotta wear gloves.
Mr. Wagner tells us to just put it down deep.
You do. Put what down deep? Your
The
hand?
glass.
Oh, okay.
No, not your hand down in there. Did anybody else have a question? All right, babes.
For both of you, do you always, when you're metal detecting, when you get a hit, do you always dig it up?
It depends. I'm not sure what machines you guys are using, but VDI numbers.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
go-
say the best that they usually use, it might have an indicator if it's
Okay.
It's bounty hunting.
iron or
Yeah.
like aluminum or something like that.
Okay. Well, with those machines, you want to dig everything.
I just want to give a special thanks to Garrett Metal Detectors for sending a bunch of stuff for me to give to the kids, the aprons and magnifying glasses and books. And speaking of books, Mary Schaefer, we gave away copies of her book, 101 Things I Wish I'd Known About Metal Detecting When I Started. I'll put a link down below. And last but not least, my boyfriend Drew. He owns a coin business, Old Time Numismatics, and he was kind enough to donate a ton of coins for the kids. So without them, I wouldn't have been able to make it happen. So thank you very much. And I also set up a GoFundMe for the class. One of the things they were telling me is they're out there digging in the schoolyard. They don't have gloves, and you guys are always harping on me to wear gloves, you know. But these are kids, and they're out there, and they don't have gloves. They don't, you know, they're digging up glass and sharp and pointy things. So if we could get them gloves, that would be great. I set the goal at $1,500. If we could get them metal detectors, better metal detectors, that would be awesome. So I'll put the link down below. If you feel moved to contribute to that, that would be amazing. I gotta go get my dogs. All right, I'll catch you next time.